And on our special feature series, we take a look at the effects of prolonged skin bleaching and why some people just can't seem to live without it.
As always, those are the big stories. Thanks for your company. I'm Keminni Amanor.
And I am Mawuena Egbeta. News Central starts right now. This afternoon, did you know that only 6% of women get elected in district-level elections in the country? It gets worse. Since 1994, a paltry 2,059 women have been elected in total as against 34,460 men. These are the latest figures based on data from the National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, NALAG, and the Electoral Commission of Ghana. While local-level elections are less captivating, attracting less than 40% voter turnout in all the elections, it is a critical level of governance representing broader efforts towards democratizing and modernization of state mechanisms. Therefore, the electorates have a huge role to play in helping bring about this transformation of getting more women elected in the district assemblies. Let's walk you through what the data says from that NALAG and Electoral Commission report. And so it's computing data for us from 1994. And in 1994, 122 women, which represented 2.9%, were elected as against 4,082 men, 97.1%. In 98, 196, there was a marginal increase, 4.1%. That of the men as well saw an increase, but in terms of percentage term, it didn't see such great increase, 4,624. In 2002, it's been upwards, 341 representing 7.4%, with the men seeing 4,241 persons elected, representing 92.6. In 2006, it went up again, 478 women elected, perhaps reaching the highest ever in the history of the Fourth Republic. 10.1% of women elected into local governance, 4,251 for 254 rather, for men, representing 89.9%. Then it began to see some decline. In 2010, 412 women were elected, 7.95% in percentage terms, with the men going to 5,681, representing 92.05%. And then in 2015, 282, 4.65%. And then in 2019, 245, representing 3.91%, with the men 6,072, representing 96.09%. Let's get on to Zoom now and speak with General Advocate Keminni Amanor. She's also been at the forefront of the push to get the affirmative action bill passed by Parliament. Hi, Efua. Many thanks for joining us this afternoon. First off, your reaction really to what it is that we've been walking through, this data that we've been gleaning through since '94 up to this point. A decline since 2010. What, in your estimation, has been accounting for this decline?
Hi, good afternoon, and it's a pleasure being here again. There are so many factors that contribute to the decline in women participating in governance at the local level. I don't want to blame it on the non-passage of the affirmative action bill. That is a story for another day. But the truth is that if we have all the systemic barriers that block women's chances of participation removed, we could start from somewhere. You know, elections in Ghana now is all about money. It's all about how well you're able to get out there, how beautiful your posters are, how many campaigns you're able to hold, and all that. And we know that most Ghanaian women, especially at the local level, are not economically independent. They are not financially sound to be able to do all this. And so a lot of women have the craving to at least get into local level politics, but finances, no. And there are no deliberate efforts at the local level to push women.
Down to finance, because all throughout this week we've been doing a preview of the district level elections, and there's been complaint as well from the side of the men that the finances was making it difficult to be able to go out there and campaign vigorously. And so how much of it is it down to finance and also to the willingness of the women to want to participate in local governance?
I think that women are willing to participate now more than ever. But like I mentioned, they don't have the resources to. And then the systemic barriers keep staring us in the face. Okay, women need money to go file nominations. Women need money to go print posters. Women need money to organize rallies and go on campaign tours. This involves money. But if we have a system in place where deliberately, okay, we have the systems encouraging women that, look, if this number of women or in this district go up for elections, we will support them with ABC. A lot of women will be encouraged to. But as it is now, it is, okay, I want to go for elections. I have to finance everything. And I always say that that is the biggest barrier we're facing. How much is the income level of a woman at the countryside? What income generating activities do they have making money to be able to go print posters, print t-shirts and all this? Right. I see a lot going on in my area recently where people are even sharing t-shirts at the district assembly level, right? And that is in Accra. People sharing posters, people sharing money, people sharing t-shirts and a lot of goodies. How are the women at the community level able to get the resources to do the same things that other people are doing here?
And this, you believe the affirmative action bill perhaps might not fully be able to solve, because you mentioned that it is a subject you might not want to touch on right now?
It is a subject I might not want to touch on, because if the affirmative action bill has been passed, as at the last edition, I'm sure that the district assemblies know at the decentralized level, they know that, okay, progressively, we must make sure that this number of women are pushed into the district level elections. They will be deliberate about it. But as of now, we don't have any legal framework backing women. It is just the CSOs, some media, and the goodwill of some people that are pushing those who are in there. Look at the number from 2010 and 2006. In 2006, we had 478 women, even though there was no legal framework. But the more women go into politics, the more they are called names, the more they face lots of challenges. And there is no system in place to address all that. Imagine a woman getting into district level elections and be called names. The motivation is not there.
Right. For this year, we not quite clear as to fully the numbers, but are you satisfied with the number of women you're seeing wanting to be a part of the process this year?
I am not. I wish there were more women. I wish in my own way I have the resources to fund at least a quota of women to participate in the elections.
Right then, I'm sure it's a conversation we'll get a bit more on after the district level elections, which comes off on December 19, concludes. But many thanks for speaking to us this afternoon.
Elections are still on the bill this afternoon. This time I'll take you to Parliament, where some MPs are demanding broader consultation on the Electoral Commission's proposal to close polls by 3 p.m. in the 2024 elections. They argue that even though the proposal is good in principle, it must be accepted by all parties and stakeholders. TV3 News spoke to MP for Yendi, Farouk Aliu Mahama, and MP for Ashaiman, Enes Nogbe.
I think it's in the right direction because we will need to have a declaration quickly by 5, 6. We know that our incoming president will be declared, and we, the members of parliament who are going for election, will obviously also be declared. So I think it's in the right direction, and we should call for it. And I'm endorsing that situation.
Decisions are made, and the stakeholders agree to it. Why not? Because by and large, we also don't want to enter into the night by counting, etc. So if they will do all the necessary things that needs to be done, especially by creating more police stations, reducing the numbers from the 700 thereabout to minimum of 400, 500, and that will fasten the process. Why not? I think it's a laudable idea.
I want to take you to Parliament, where our Duke Mensa Poku is on standby for more on this story. Duke, good afternoon to you. Obviously, the MPs are calling for consensus, but does it resonate with all of them?
Well, many of them believe that the idea or the proposal is in its early stages yet, but for them, consultation is key, even though they agree with the principle of the proposal to have elections closed early, collating can start, and other activities unfold. They believe that this is a very critical proposal that requires the buy-in. Many of them are asking for proof, evidential proof, based on which statistics. You know, the Electoral Commissioner yesterday indicated that about 70% of the polling stations were empty by 1 p.m. And it is based on these statistics and this evidence that they would want to, to bring the closing time of polls earlier to about 3 p.m. Some of them think that evidence should be provided to this effect. Others who are rural MPs say that in their constituencies, a lot of people come from various nooks and crannies, remote villages, to census, to polling centers to vote. So the 5 p.m. is favorable, but they believe that there should be much more consultation in relation to this issue. And some of them have decided also to sit on the fence, waiting for their political parties to take a certain position before they go the party line. So that's what's happening here in Parliament, really. And ironically or interestingly, Keminni, the Electoral Commissioner and her lieutenants are in Parliament today, not on the floor, but in the committee room to meet the Special Budget Committee. She's defending her budget of some 786 million Ghana cedis to be used for the year 2024, including the crucial elections budget. So she's seeking a little over 780 million Ghana cedis for election and election-related expenses. For the Electoral Committee, generally running their budget for the next year.
Listen, Duke, it's December 15th, barring any other changes. Parliament should rise December 21st, thereabout. Talk to us about how they're racing against time on the other activities that you're supposed to do.
Well, so last night, the House proceeded, they left the House, they adjourned sittings around 7:30. Today, just about 5 minutes ago, that's when sitting began. It's the first deputy speaker, who is in the chair. Still, the budget season, there are a number of estimates, including some 2 billion for the Office of Government Machinery and some 29 billion Ghana cedis for the Ministry of Education. All of that are lined up to be considered today on the floor of Parliament. So gradually, they are going through them. What is missing, though, is that we have not seen the tax bills, the tax handle. Remember earlier in the minority were raising concerns about that. So far, we've not seen them on the order paper. We're not quite sure whether they are still at the Finance Committee being considered. But that's how things are. They're working through them gradually. The last 2 days, the LGBT bill has not been considered. But I tell you that tomorrow, unusually of Parliament, there will still be a sitting. Parliament will be sitting tomorrow, just to be able to deal with the volume of work, the load of work they have to do before they rise on the 20th of December.
Duke, pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much. Duke Mensa Poku joined us from Parliament, updating us on activities in the legislature.
So here on News Central, and we're taking you to some other developing stories in relation to elections, because the judiciary is recommending for parliamentary elections to be held in November in election years as part of measures to fast-track the resolution of disputes which may arise from the elections. A justice of the Supreme Court, Justice Yoni Kulendi, is also recommending the adoption of special courts to resolve parliamentary election disputes. He was speaking at an inter-party dialogue at the behest of the National Peace Council.
Consideration of recommendations for holding elections in November in an election year, which is a month earlier, to enable disputes to be resolved within a shortest time frame before the business of government gathers momentum. A review of the provisions of the laws and procedures on parliamentary election petitions, specifically the Representation of the People Act and the High Court Civil Procedure Rules, to provide a specific time frame within which such petitions would be heard and determined. For instance, an abridgment could be considered in the time for commencement, and it could be reduced from, say, 21 to 14 days after gazetting. A new law to solely regulate parliamentary election adjudication with specific timelines for filing petitions, limitations on appeal, limitations on amendments, and serving of further particulars, etc., could be considered. The use and adoption of electronic service as a means of reducing delay in service and proof of same, which is usually an issue during civil litigation. Since we all now converse by WhatsApp and we all use emails, and in other jurisdictions, electronic service is actually the way. That will take out this whole legal gymnastics that people play around the procedure.
Let's speak to Democracy Governance Fellow at CDD Ghana, Dr. John Osai Kwapon, for a bit more on this and a number of issues which came out of that dialogue. Doc, I appreciate that you could join us this afternoon. First off, the thoughts on this proposal having us votes for our parliamentarians as early as November in election years.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's a step in the right direction. If you would recall, in I think in our inaugural election in the Fourth Republic, it was the other way around. We had the presidential, and then a couple of weeks later, we had the parliamentary elections. We held them apart. I'm not sure exactly what the rationale behind is. If it is to ensure that you have it in November, and then if there are any issues that need to be resolved, you can use the month of December to resolve them, so that by, January 7th, when Parliament has to be inaugurated, then you have resolved all of the issues. For me, at the end of the day, it still boils down to ensuring that voters get their say at the most appropriate time in a way that is transparent and that is efficient.
Right. And so there's a concern that should this go through, it could influence the outcome of the presidential elections, because depending on which direction Parliament sways, then the parties could make an argument that we've won already in Parliament, and so you should just give it to us at the presidency as well. A legitimate argument that can be put forth, you'd agree?
Yes, it is a legitimate. You're right. You don't want the outcome of one to unduly affect the outcome of the other. So that if you held both on the same day, you don't know how they're going, both are going to turn out. You could still end up with, let's say, one party winning parliamentary, the other winning the presidential, or the same party winning both. But you're right. Should you have Parliament first, and then it goes a particular way to one particular party who may or may not win the presidential, they can make the case that, look, we won the parliamentary election to make governance easier and less challenging. It would make sense to also ensure that we win the presidential. So that it is a legitimate concern that it can have an undue influence on the next election that follows, which is the presidential election coming up.
Right, Doug.
It will be very interesting to find out why in 92 we had the presidential and parliamentary, and then subsequent to that, the decision was made to hold both on the same day.
Right. Doug, I'll just ask you to hold it a bit for us, because still in relation to the conversation on elections, the Institute of Democratic Governance, IDEC, is making a case for the National Peace Council to take steps to ensure that the values that underpin the signing of the Presidential Peace Pact ahead of general elections materializes. Let's just listen to the director of IDEC, Dr. Emmanuel Akwete, and then I come to you again for submissions on this.
Every peace pact has a segment that talks about the need to reform, bring reforms that will strengthen the system. Can the parties themselves broker the consensus needed to reform aspects of the Constitution, or determine which priorities can go forward because there is consensus? We don't have institutional mechanisms to broker consensus or compromise. They emerge out of the debates and so on. So in this, the substitute then becomes the Peace Council. But the Peace Council also sees its limitations. And so for us, these are real life experiences we saw, and we think that a certain neutral body, whether it will be a state institution created specifically to look at how consensus will be built on issues we disagree, might be useful, might be very important. If we leave it to the giants of parties, we might have a problem. And if we succeed doing that, you will find out that any reform to open local government now, as we speak, would not go forward because we have consensus that local government must be reformed.
So a case in point about a body, an independent body that can help with resolution and going forward possible changes to how we do things in terms of elections. It doesn't seem to think that the Peace Council wields the authority and the powers to be able to do that for us.
Partly also because I think the Peace Council is not, I mean, in as formal as the Peace Council is, I think there are limitations to its powers, what it can do, what it can enforce, and what it can't enforce. But I also think that sometimes it's not so much creating another institution or another independent body to try and resolve some of these issues or build some of this consensus. I think sometimes it is also about the key stakeholders themselves, their ability to listen to each other, their ability to respect different views, but the ability to also, no matter how long it takes, to be able to forge that consensus with the interests of the country at heart. Consensus building is a very difficult task, right? And when you throw in partisan politics, it even makes it more challenging. But it is also imperative that those who play in our democratic spaces have to learn the art of building that consensus, which would include the ability to compromise even on the very difficult topics or subjects that we disagree on.
Right then, Doc, I appreciate that you could join us this afternoon. That's Dr. Osai Kwapong, a governance fellow with CDD Ghana, speaking to us this afternoon. We're going for a quick break. When we return, around the regions to get an understanding as to exactly what's been happening there. Stay with us.
Everybody knows Acrobato. And if you know Acrobato, it means you know Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic is my pillar. Let's hear what others are saying about Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. Who will be careful Endpoint one?
Chesena me ankasa me period na say problems wom ntina ma wo ho idea ma me papa chesena nya asem ketewa na me coin point no mo hwe me modam no mo hwe bibia na so mo medro me fire no ene ma won kra me enu hofro kwa na mkwan mu a eba.
And everything yourself.
Me ma me no adwodwo eda ho a wontumi nante and then the end point. Omama nura, and then the white dear, what's me sorry ananti.
That's end point for you. Hello. Hey, what? Okay. A free bra with the end point. What does it? I'm a choir. Me Joseph Sama name Koye, and pass one of my main and then Magina Sabema. Now, let me be here for the hard in Jarissa. You heard everything. I have secret. End point is my secret. End point homeopathic clinic. I'm free.
That means I come brave you higher and then to come by your first say. Papa slide.
Washing machine.
Obeto washing machine. Wow.
Beto hard drive.
Obeto hard drive. In a radio do Franco so see and chawadi into one hard drive. Any achadi and they name my war. Oh. And no more winning Franco see a Franco. Check camera make a picture Franco mame.
Oh, Franco, my idea too much. Now, me better machine, so it means I tea so grand. Platform.
Your natural hair deserves the best treatment. And that's exactly what Maxim Twist and Kale Butter gives you. First, wash your hair thoroughly with Maxim shampoo and conditioner. Apply Maxim leave-in conditioner to make your hair soft. Then, apply a generous amount of Maxim Twist and Kale Butter. Then twist. Blow dry your hair for some minutes and add oil moisturizer to give it a great shine. With Maxim Twist and Kale Butter, you can untwist your hair and have it anyhow you want it. Available in cosmetic shops, Maxim Leave-In Conditioner and Maxim Twist and Kale Butter, because you're the max.
This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Dirty Rave in Ghana. Get ready for the ultimate Afro enjoyment rave, Dirty Rave. Accra, we outside. Brace yourselves because this year Dirty Rave is shooting for the moon. Save the dates, December 27th. Get ready for an intergalactic rave experience. Performing live DJ mixes are Chop Live Sound System with DJ Edu and Don Easy, DJ Aruma, DJ Obi, AD DJ, Kelvin DJ, and Kojo Manuel. It's a star-studded party you don't want to miss. December 27th, Untamed Empire. Secure your spot at this cosmic celebration. Visit www.dirtyrave.com or use *725*5555#. So mark your calendar, get your tickets, and prepare for liftoff. This out-of-the-world experience is sponsored by Bet Power, EcoBank, Club Here, Voltic, Yango, DDP, Turf, Holiday Inn, Waka Now, Untamed Empire, Beyond the Return, McDan, Atlas, Eliza Travels, Black A Restrooms, and Kozo.
Come January, the 34th edition of the Africa Cup of Nations will take place in Ivory Coast. 24 of Africa's best countries will converge to compete and battle it out for supremacy. With no debutants, this would be an assembly of richly experienced teams. The quality of display will be like nothing ever seen. Join us on AFCON Quest as we build up to a unique continental showpiece. Get updates on the history of the tournament, preparations of all teams, and the readiness of Ivory Coast to host the rest of Africa. AFCON Quest, your 2023 Cup of Nations hub.
AFCON Quest premiering Friday 15 December at 11 a.m. on TV3.
Welcome back. Now, most communities within the Greater Tamale metropolis do not have pipe-borne water. This is because Ghana Water Company supply does not reach these areas. Communities such as Kuko, Vitin, Target, Kombli Mahagu, Snit, Chogu, Yapausi, and several others have not had water flowing through their taps for over a month. Residents have had to resort to dugouts and unwholesome water from tricycle operators, which they say is expensive. Let's have a quick chat with Christopher Mwako, who visited some of the affected communities in the metropolis. He now joins us via Zoom with more updates on this. Christopher, good afternoon to you. I see you're still working on this story, but so far, what have you picked up about why the supply of water from the Ghana Water Company does not reach these areas? Well, we cannot hear Christopher at the moment. What we'll do now is take a listen to some of the residents he has spoken to while working on this story.
The water crisis has been a challenge for us since the rain stopped. During the rainy season, once in a while, we do get water. But this period is so difficult. I can't even remember the last time our tap flowed. Normally, when you wake up in the morning, you have to get gallons or jerrycans to go far away to get water to be able to bath before you go to school, before you go to work. And all these distract us from other activity, but you have to go to work or school early. The time you spend in getting the water, sometimes you even go there and you spend like 2 hours to get the water. But everybody around here has no water, so we all have to pile up, queue in line, spend hours to get the water before we be able to bath and go to work, and it's really affecting us.
In Vete community, we face a lot of challenges concerning our water. We hardly get water from pipe. In getting water, in search for water, we normally get late in preparing for our work to go to school and we ourselves to go to work. We hardly get water to even wash our feet, neither cook food in our homes. So it has been a lot of challenges.
Let's stay on this story. Christopher Mwako is joining us from the area. Christopher, we've just heard from some residents who are explaining their plights to us, but I know you're still working on this story. What have you heard about why Water Company Limited does not supply to these areas?
Yes, Keminni, the water situation in the Greater Tamale metropolis is a perennial one. Every year, this challenge occurs, and it's just basically because of the sand-winning activities at the water treatment center at Nawuni. And this has, over the years, affected the water supply to the Greater Tamale metropolis. And this is so because the Ghana Water Company, according to them, they have 3 pumps that take water from the source and treat and distribute. And when these activities are on the surge, it is very difficult for them to be able to pump the water. And so in a day, they are able to pump some 30,000 cubic meters of water. Unfortunately, because the water intake, the dirt accumulates in the pipes, and they are unable to pump these water to the communities, it is very difficult for residents to also get water. So the challenge has been from the production point, how to pump the water and distribute to these areas. Keminni, I have with me the Northern Regional Manager of the Ghana Water Company, who has been explaining this situation. I want to just introduce him for a minute. Manager, you have been working in this area, and water supply to the Greater Tamale metropolis has been a challenge over the years. Residents are complaining. How soon are you working to rectify this challenge for them to get water?
Thank you very much. I can't give a definite time because it is a perennial problem. It happens every year in the dry season because that is when the sand-winning activities intensifies. And like I explained to you earlier, when that happens, the rate at which our pump breaks down also goes up because the sand particles increase the wearing of our parts on the pumps. So what we have done is to put in a mechanism where there are spare parts at our cost. So as soon as a pump vibrates or goes faulty, we isolate it and then we fix. And it takes 2 days, 1 pump to be fixed. So sometimes you can have 2 pumps break down at the same time. Only 1 pump will be running. Sometimes all the 3 pumps will break down because of wear from the sun activities. So it is difficult to tell, but as I speak to you now, I've got in support even from Kumasi, our base workshop, to help with the maintenance. So that's what we are doing. As they break down, we repair.
So Kevin, basically he's saying that he's unable to tell when the water supply to these communities will be rectified, but they are also working to get water to these affected communities. Kevin.
I see, Christopher, we heard from the residents earlier who share with us the difficulty with which they get water. You also tell us that it's expensive. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yes, so because of this situation, Kevin, if you come to this part of the country, the northern part, the water table is very low, and for that matter, boreholes do not do well here. And the very few dugouts that are available, you talk about the dams within the enclave, also dry up very early. So these residents will have to resort to tricycle operators and water tankers, which is very, very expensive. A gallon of water right now in Tamale is going for 2 cedis. The Kufuor jerrycan is going for 2 cedis. And not all the residents can afford to buy this. So it is seriously biting hard on them. And all they pray for is that Ghana Water Company should be able to rectify the challenge and resume the supply of water to them so that they will be able to go about their activities.
Indeed, Christopher, thanks for the great reporting. Christopher Mwako joined us from the Tamale area where, you know, water supply has been curtailed to some communities.
Well, dropping down to the Asante region, where the Ghana Mines Workers Union says the shift from permanent employment to non-standard forms of employment has left them with a sense of job insecurity. These non-standard employment include temporary work, casualization, and fixed-term contract work. According to the union, for over 10 workers, as much as 9 are engaged in non-standard forms of employment. Speaking at the union's 13th quadrennial delegate conference in Obuasi in the Ashanti region, the General Secretary of the union, Abdul Mumin, said that the development has led to little to no employment protection and a high degree of uncertainty among workers.
The sad reality is that businesses get rid of previous commitments to employees only to hire the same skilled employees under highly unfavorable terms and conditions. Regrettably, this phenomenon...
Ibrahim Abubakar monitored that conference. He's got a lot more details there for us. Let's connect with him right now. Ibrahim, talk to us about the concern of the leadership in relation to the safety of jobs for the people in the sector.
Well, Mawuena, they fear that this poses threat to job security because the new way of employment within the mining sector is that they will just move you from permanent job to the temporary or casual or even contract, what they term as fixed. And they are blaming this, the rise of this on the weak labor law we have as a country and also lack of enforcement. In fact, the union was even citing what they claim to be controversial employment agreement by Newmont when they decided some few months ago to move most of the permanent workers to casual workers. And when the management were confronted, they said the labor law allows them to do so. And this they fear also affect productivity and also, like I said, job insecurity. So now what they want is for review of the Labor Act 2003, review of it so that at least employees will be secured and protected whenever they wake up and go to work.
Right, Ibrahim. So we understand that the Minister of Labour and Employment Relations, Ignatius Bafwewa, was there. Did he immediately provide responses to their concern?
Well, he admitted that there were a challenge with the labor law and that it needs to be amended. But now he is assuring them that government will take steps to ensure that both employees and employers do not get cheated. That's when the labor law is amended. But he also briefly touched on the impasse Sonin Asogli with its union leadership, and he assured them that government will make sure they will address all those concerns.
Under no circumstance will we sacrifice Ghanaians for other nationals. No. I am saying this in response to the issue of Asobi. We have worked with your leaders, and your leaders appreciate the kind of efforts we have put in resolving this issue. Yes, it's delayed, I agree. But there's no way we can step the law. Let's be very frank. These are laws that we have made for ourselves. If the laws are not good, let us change it altogether. But for now, this is what we have, and we have to make use of it. I appreciate your tolerance, but I also assure you that the law will take its course, and at an appropriate time, justice will be done.
That's Employment and Labour Relations Minister Ignatius Pafu earlier. I had to speak to my colleague Ibrahim Abubakar. That's it for Regional Hub. When we return, inflation is on a steady decline. We have a conversation for you on that. Stay with us.
Do you want to be a star?
Semi-final round is here on Mentor Season 12. The competition gets fiercer and tougher as we inch closer to the grand finale. Catch all the action, emotions and electrifying performances on the Freestyle Battle Edition this Sunday on TV3 Mentor 12. Our contestants will battle it out with each other in freestyles to wow the audiences and of course move a step further towards the grand finale. Which contestant makes it to the top 4 for the grand finale? Vote now to keep your favorite contestant in the competition and to win the ultimate mouth-watering prize package of over 150k worth of goodies and cash. Come join us this and every Sunday at TV3 Studio B at Desawe for the live musical experience. Studio audience must be seated by 7:30 p.m. sharp, or catch the live show on TV at 8 p.m. on TV3. Mentor Season 12. The world awaits you.
Mentor is brought to you by Heaven Black Insecticide Spray and Mosquito Coil, and Napa Foods Sense Body Spray,
Bell Ice, Vitamilk, Dragnet, Pepsodent Charcoal and Lemon Infused Formula, and Pepsodent Natural Herbal Formula, Darling Lemon Drink,
Frutelli Calipo, Blackberry Lounge.
The winner of Talented Kids Season 14 is Abigail!
It is here again. This season on Talented Kids is inter-school competition.
If I like Mike Tyson, me dance like Michael Jackson, me kill a lion like Samson.
Join the all-new inter-school Talented Kids competition this season, calling on institutions, parents, and individuals who recognize the talent in children aged 6 to 12. Auditions will take place at the Aviation Social Center on December 23rd in Accra, Akuma FM in Kumasi on January 9, and Connect FM in Takrade on January 11. Don't miss this opportunity to make your school proud. Talented Kids, free to play. I know I can be what I want to be.
Eddie,
It's that time of the year again. 5 years of scintillating party experience for you at the 3FM1Y party. Well, the 28th of December, we're bringing it back, rebranded, rekindled, reloaded, repackaged.
Fast, let's speed it up, my guy.
Guess what? It's happening on the 28th of December, 2023 at the Plush La Palm Royal Beach Hotel.
Invite your staff. Come and give your best clients the most memorable experiences by buying a few tables. Join us at a 3FM All-White party.
expect incredible live performances from top artists. I'm talking about Stoneboy, Manifest, KK Fusu, and Akwaba. Oh, and fire DJs on rotation.
It's a 3FM all-white party on December 28th at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, starting at 7 p.m. Please call 0531 100 927 and 0532 200 927 for your table reservations today.
Listen, Ghana's inflation rate has been on a downward trajectory for some time now. On Thursday, the Ghana Statistical Service announced that inflation rate dropped to 26.4% in November of 2023 from 35.2% recorded a month earlier. Yes, government statistician Professor Samuel Kwabena Enim announced the drop in inflation.
From a food and non-food perspective, we saw a 10.5 percentage point difference, with food inflation 32.2% relative to 21.7% for the month of November 2023. The decline in food inflation was much steeper than the decline in non-food inflation, with food inflation dropping by 12.6 percentage points, while non-food inflation dropped by 6.0 percentage points. We continue to see the dominance of imported items inflation, recording a relatively higher rate of inflation of 27.1% relative to locally produced items 26.1%.
Joe Jackson is the financial analyst, is joining us on the subject. Good afternoon to you, Joe. You know, my purchasing power hasn't gone up. It's still the same, but we hear of drop in inflation. What are we looking at here? Cooked figures to the lay mind, or something could be at play? Joe, you're muted.
Good afternoon to your listeners, and sorry for muting. Listen, we've been battered, hammered all this year by bad news and rising prices. For once, the year is ending on an excellent note, fantastic note. We can't, listen, this is the best news that we've heard in a long time. What does it mean to you? It means that those rises in prices that were happening day in, day out are going to drop. You're asked what you've lost. What is gone is gone. You know what? As an account, what we say? What's in where is it called? What does this mean? What is gone is gone.
Right.
But at least left we can protect, and the price rises are coming down. Even more important, food prices are coming down. And that's a good thing.
Joe, how long before we begin to feel this as far as our peasants are concerned?
No, listen, a drop in inflation does not mean a drop in food price. It only means that it won't go higher. I'm sorry to bust your bubble.
You just did.
The drop in inflation definitely does not mean that. It means that the repeated price rises are coming down.
I see.
What is gone is gone. This just means that you can take better care of what is left of your purchasing power.
Absolutely. Joe, quickly, the Bank of Ghana has been pursuing what it calls inflation targeting. With this drop in inflation, what are we expecting to hear from them soon?
Well, if they don't drop their interest rates massively, it will be such a disservice to the public. Bank of Ghana, I know they are listening. Please, this is the opportunity to drop your prices to more reasonable levels. T-bill prices should go down. The reference rate should come down. And we should all look forward to 2024 in better spirits. Things are not exactly okay yet, but this is good news. And where we are, we take every good news that we can.
Good news indeed. Thank you so much, Joe. Joe Jackson is the financial analyst. We've been talking about the drop in inflation and how it impacts you and me. There's more news. Don't go away.
A bit more politics, and we're going to support the Teachers Association to build for their members. Already, the associations have housing schemes for their members, so we'll work with them. This is an assurance coming from the flag bearer of the NDC to teachers if he secures their mandate.
Teacher for omo housing scheme omoye. And so I was say aban besum na obi etimi enya ho mfaso. Enti ye be ne say aban ene mo teachers association.
We are going to support the teachers associations to build for their members. Already, the associations have housing schemes for their members, so we will work with them.
I will be call retirement 60 no. Ye de aban sika beba be kamodia ho. Na baby a opesi esi dan ma obia dan kitwe bi 2 bedroom 3 bedroom se ukromo se baby a ochre ade o ni akosi wo ho.
If you are a teacher with 20 years to retirement, you can be involved in the arrangement where some amount is deducted from your salary. I'm talking about affordable housing, not those priced in dollars, that the prices increases with the rise of the dollar. We will price them so that everyone can afford.
Teacher ni, nurse ni, doctor ni, obi a oye aban adwuma bia anase private sector mpo a yetua oka ye beboa se ne be ya wa obenya wo dan wo call retirement no abetenam.
I don't know about you, but the weather feels like Christmas. So this afternoon, the Ghana Meteorological Agency is confirming that the current weather change is as a result not of Christmas, but of Harmattan, which will last till the end of February 2024 in the middle and coastal areas. However, in the north of Ghana, it will prolong through till the end of March 2024. Hazy conditions are forecast to persist over the country, which will cause horizontal visibility to deteriorate further. The agency has also asked citizens to discard what appears to be a release on the state of the current weather changes.
Yeah, we admit that there is this change in weather pattern. Can you speak to the release that is in the public that, yeah, it's as a result of a pollutant and all that?
No, that release has been in the public domain for almost 3 years. It is being recycled. That says that information from EPA, GMET, Ghana Health Service. The current change in weather atmosphere across the country is not a Harmattan, but rather an extreme form of air pollution. It is false. What we are experiencing now is pure Harmattan. That is, the dust particles have been raised from the Sahel regions, and once that is raised from the Sahel regions, it will advert towards us. And once it's adverting towards us, it means it will be settling on us. And that is why at times, I think 3 days ago, we saw a very low visibility, poor visibility in Accra. But in the north currently, visibility is even below 1,000 because the dust particles are there. So it is not any pollutant. It is his quantity.
Yeah, so Mr. Apotovi, if it's been there for 3 years, then it means you've not been doing anything about it.
I think last year we did the same thing. We issued a counter something against it, but people are still recirculating it. But what I can say is that a month ago, we issued a press release.
Now time for our special feature for today. And for a long time, society has seen the search for beauty as a woman's pastime. But as you will learn in our special feature, that is also the story of some men. The desire to be an eye candy is what pushed Richmond Sakifio to bleach his skin. He was only 13 when it all began. Mawuena Egbeta reports even at 32, Richmond is addicted to the attention skin bleaching brings him.
It's 7 a.m. at Bokum in Accra. Richard Sakifio was not born with this skin color. He tells me he was dark-skinned but decided to change his skin color through bleaching at age 13.
I started bleaching when I was 13 years. If you are not a fair guy, you then don't love you. That's why I'll be using some cream so that my color will be fair.
Richmond is not the only one. 48-year Oyodaga has been bleaching throughout her life, a practice she now regrets. She narrates how she almost lost her legs after using a powerful household cleaning detergent, Powerzone, to bleach.
Look at my leg. My 2 legs is 2 colors, different colors. Look, different colors. Powerzone make it like that. See this. So I beg people, me pon he wa pon ojogba me ni lemi na me like pon ojogba. Pon he ina fashion ye me no me pa me fai.
Despite the harmful effects of skin bleaching, the streets of Accra are flooded with cosmetic shops displaying an array of creams and soaps known to contain bleaching and toning agents.
I was then trading in slipper, but I changed 3 years into cosmetics because here in Bukom here, people like the cosmetics. The cosmetics business move faster than any other thing here.
This is a concern for the Food and Drugs Authority, which maintains that most of these products are illegal.
This year we've done a number of raids, a number of arrests, seizures of these products. We continue to do them. But if the public is not going to patronize it, will be one way of regulation. We believe self-regulation is a very important thing. So much as we go after people, we make sure our borders are intact and they do not get them smuggled in. The public themselves will also have to stay away from these and all these drug and substance abuse.
With the FDA and other relevant authorities struggling to deal with the influx of bleaching products, health experts fear a rise in varying diseases, including skin cancer.
Diabetes is another form of side effect. So if you take these drugs, you apply them. If you apply them long enough, and if you're serious about bleaching, that means you have to use them forever, but because they work only as long as you take them. So you cannot say, okay, I will bleach for a week and then I'm bleached forever. No, you have to continuously bleach. So especially the corticosteroids, they are hormones that we produce ourselves. And if we apply them under our skin for a long period of time, then we will find them in our blood.
Despite the harmful effects of skin bleaching, Richmond is unperturbed.
Some of the girls, they like handsome boy like me, like people who have been bleaching themselves, who have been using the cream so that my body will make bright.
Retired professional boxer Bukom Banku used to bleach. He now regrets his actions.
Bukom people, they are worrying, they are make bleaching. But I call some people to give advice because I do it before. You understand me? Bleaching is no good. Bleaching can change you. You can get cancer. You can get any sickness you don't like. Well, bleaching is no good for any woman be. So if you somebody bleaching, it's not fine. If you somebody say they bleaching itself because woman is lying, they're bleaching because of the life. But I don't think say it be woman.
Black is not only attractive but beautiful and bold. But there are still many who would go through all the lengths to lighten their complexion, saying it is their choice. With cosmetic shops now selling banned products such as hydroquinone and mercury, it's high time the Food and Drugs Authority goes hard on shops still selling them.
I mean, I don't know what you think of what it is that we just saw.
Well, it's very nuanced and a complicated, topic, and I'm happy that the story covered it quite well. For me, it's about the fact that society has always been on the necks of women against bleaching, but to see that a man goes through the same thought process or the same challenges for which reason they want to bleach, that's eye-opening for me. And I hope the FDA does its job. You recall that they wanted to, they began post-market surveillance on getting some of the harmful products out of the market. I wonder what's happened to that, because these same products are what we saw in the video.
We saw in the video and all of that. But anyways, I have no thoughts on bleaching.
Why not? Maybe you could be eye candy too.
You've elucidated everything quite well.
You could be eye candy too.
Not sure.
Like Richmond thinks he would be.
I'm not sure about that. But that's our bulletin. I am Mawuena Egbeta.
We've had a brilliant week with you. We'll see you same time Monday. I'm Keminni Amanor. Bye-bye.
Of course, when these two sides last met at the Emirates.
Mike, why did you put this on top of the water? No, I can't reach it. Please help.